Back at Indianapolis Raceway Park, caution is out for a hard 6-car crash in turn 1.
Hank Parker Jr., the winner last week, will not win tonight because he drives the GNC car away from the crash.
Shane Meal is involved, Mike Harmon, Kevin LePage, and Hermie Sadler. Ron Hornaday was also involved in the beginning of it. He has driven away.
All right, here we go. Tony down at turn 1. Hornaday on the inside of Shane Meal. He locked that brake down that left front. We saw the smoke, but he couldn't stop in time. Made contact with Shane Meal, and round he went.
And that starts what we call a good old-fashioned yard sale.
Yeah, a lot of parts for the auctions.
And it looks like Hornaday is really worried more about Hank Parker than he is Shane Meal there. But when he gets down there, then you realize he's committed. Shane's coming down a little bit. He does lock up the fronts, and there's nowhere for him to go but Shane in the back.
He and Shane Meal had bumped in turn 3, the preceding half lap. Then when they came off of 4, they were 3 wide and kind of rubbed a little sheet metal, and then it came down to this in turn 1.
On board with Jack Sprague. Let's see if he gets through. Well, it looks like he did. And the 36 car of Hank Parker Jr. Man, look at the damage to the Fields car. He has had a problem with the brakes locking up all night. And I think when he got down the corner and really had to use the brakes, that they locked up and caused the car to spin. There's Hermie.
There's Hermie Sadler out of his car. You saw Parker Jr. and Shane Meal drive away. Kevin LePage I saw climb from his car.
And NASCAR, there is such a mess down there. They have thrown the red flag, stopped the cars up in turn 4 until they can get this cleaned up and check on all the drivers.
And that's probably a really good call because there's so much metal down there inside turns 1 and 2. These guys would be running through lap after lap in the pace car. You might as well just stop it and let them clean it up. So the race red flagged here at lap number 61. Here's another look.
And there you see the contact.
Now watch from the left as the other cars pile in.
Oh, Mike Harmon in the 44. Hard contact.
And then that was Kevin Grubb in the yellow car on the right side of the screen that went up over him. So make it a 7-car accident.
And right there, I guess the 12 car might have gotten in the back of the 36 car. I thought maybe the brakes locked up, but Kerry Earnhardt might have just touched the 36 in the back and causing him to spin.
Wow, Mike almost had some company there. All right, I talked about some tempers being as hot as the 90-degree weather. Glenn is down in the middle of all this.
And Shane Meal is crawling from his car right now. A little bit of a grimace on his face there. Shane looks like on the replay there was contact. Looked like the 26 car got into you getting into one.
Yeah, I don't know. He got into me down in 3 and 4. I was trying another line, and I don't know. Ron's been known to do that. He's been around quite a long time. So I just hate it for the Gould's pump. We were a little tight. We were going to get it better. I was just riding around trying to get to the first pit stop, and I hate this happened, man. My guys work awfully hard for stuff like this to happen.
Well, it's stuff like, man, it wasn't your fault. We'll step back and let the crew get started. When the red flag is lifted, they're ready to work on the car right now, but obviously they can't. Here's Ralph.
Well, Hank Parker's GNC entry is torn up too, Glenn. Hank, what happened?
Just some hard racing there at the beginning of the race. I had a good car. We came in pitted. My front brake calipers kept locking up. We had a real fast car today in practice, and it locked up in qualifying, but you can't change anything after qualifying before the race. We were really struggling with that, but we had a fast car. We were moving up through the field, and Shane Meal was kind of falling back a little bit. He's a good race car driver, but I guess he didn't know that the 26 was on his inside, and they got together, and it was all over from there.
Hank Parker Jr. behind the wall, Mike Harmon, Kevin LePage, Kevin Grubb is on pit road, Shane Meal and Hermie Sadler. Those are the accident cars here, and we're under the red flag in the Kroger 200. 61 of 200 laps are complete. Jason Keller is your leader. You're watching NASCAR on TNT.
Well, Saturday night in the Busch Series, it just brings you back to why you're doing what you're doing, whether it's in the Busch Series or the Winston Cup Series. It all started on Saturday night under the lights.
Most of us drivers grew up on Saturday night racing, and it's kind of a throwback to where we started, and I always always get excited to race under the lights. It kind of takes you back to your grassroots when you're just wanting to be here. So you're under the lights. Sometimes tempers flare a little bit under the lights. Not mine, other people's, of course.
Well, Hank didn't seem like his temper was flared, but he's awfully disappointed. He was involved in a 6-car accident that has left us under the red flag here in the Kroger 200 at lap number 61.
Well, we see Ron Hornaday in the 26 car on the inside of Shane Meal, and you know it's hard to really criticize Hornaday too much because he had been low through 3 and 4. They'd made contact up there. He was still low on the racetrack, and the 47 car actually came down, I think, in the path of Hornaday a little bit.
And with the wide variety of lines that you can run here as far as diamond in the corner and high entries and cutting down low and then drifting up in the center, it's hard to know exactly where Shane was going to go, but you know it wasn't intentional by him locking the front brakes. That showed that he was trying to get stopped and tried to stay out of Shane's way.
Big mess. Not only inside turns 1 and 2, but a couple of the people that drove away from the accident scene left a stream of oil all the way down the back stretch and onto pit road and all the way down pit road and then back in behind the wall.
Have they lifted the red flag?
No. No, so they shouldn't be working on that car, should they?
No.
That's a no-no. Of course, from the looks of that car, they're probably just trying to get it loaded up on the truck to go home for the night. Under the red flag at Indianapolis Raceway Park. Tomorrow at 2 Eastern on NBC, over 250,000 people will file into the Indianapolis Motor Speedway to see who will win the 9th running of the Brickyard 400. Jeff Gordon will try to repeat as champion and become the first driver to win the race 4 times, and all this on his 31st birthday. It all starts with Discover Kart Countdown to Green, where we go karting with teammates Gordon and Jimmy Johnson. It's a lot of fun, too. Those little slick tracks. Plus, Dave discovers safer barriers at the Brickyard, and in Wally's world, Wally Dallenbach takes us for a trip around the most famous race course in the world. It starts at 2 Eastern time tomorrow on NBC, the 9th running of the Brickyard 400 and our Discover Kart Countdown to Green. Here at Indianapolis Raceway Park, they're still cleaning up the mess down inside turns 1 and 2. Tony Stewart will lead the field to the green in the Brickyard 400 tomorrow on the Bud pole. Let's talk about final practice and your race car as you got it into trim for tomorrow's race. You said it wasn't quite as stealthy as it was in qualifying.
It was definitely in stealth mode. We have the little saying it was on stilts for qualifying. It was pretty locked down, but in happy hour the conditions changed quite a bit. The sun went down in the clouds and it made the car a little bit unstable. So you know what we did in the heat was a lot better. So I think the conditions that we're going to have for the race tomorrow are going to be much warmer, and the car's going to drive a lot better.
But wait a minute. This is the sheet showing the final practice speeds. You're second.
Let me show you what we do with these sheets. We look at them for about 2 seconds. We throw them out the window. They mean absolutely nothing.
So there was your qualifying lap, and you said it was really glued to the racetrack. Down in turn 1, about 200 miles per hour, and it was glued down. It was glued down.
Well, on the out lap, I was telling the crew chief, Greg Zipadelli, that when we pulled down on the racetrack, the car felt like it had much more grip than what we had in the final practice yesterday before qualifying today. And you know, the racetrack at Indianapolis is very temperature sensitive, just like we talk about at Charlotte. But it seems like always in the morning, no matter what the temperature is in the morning, the cars have a lot of grip early in the day. And then once we get a lot of rubber in the racetrack and the oils come out of the rubber, then this track starts slowing down a little bit.
Okay, now Bill Elliott, if you're watching, Tony wants to tell you to be careful going down in turn 1. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, I have no idea what my car is going to do when I get down there tomorrow, but I know one thing. I can promise you, Zipadelli's going to change 20 things because he does it to me every week. Even when I tell him it's perfect, he changes 20 things. So I'll have a totally different race car than I ended up with, but it did run really quick. I mean, he was quickest in the last happy hour session. We were second, so I'm pretty happy about it.
But you don't mind trying to plant the seeds of doubt either. You'd like to lead the first lap and the last lap.
It might go all the way to the wall in one. I don't know what it's going to do, Bill. So I mean, I want to check up a little bit, and give me some room.
You know, we talked about this being your home area at the beginning of our broadcast, and you've run so many laps around here. When you got that huge ovation from the crowd today when you climbed out of your car, these really are your people. You don't want to see these pictures, do you?
I didn't know you guys had this stuff.
Look at that. There you go.
Yeah.
This was Thursday night. That was Tony in the blue car.
By the way, that was my second spin in practice. That was the second run out. I'd spun once the first session and second time in the second set.
So what was that guy on that hit you broadside? What did he say to you? Nice job, Tony?
Actually, it was Bobby East, who his father's the engine, or not the engine builder, but the chassis builder, Bob East with Beast Chassis, and He walked up to me right before I went out to qualify. He goes, there should be a 2-spin rule.
Yeah.
Oh, he did, huh?
Wanted you out, huh?
He's getting a little sharp in his pants already. The kid's got a lot of talent, but I'm going to have to knock him down a little bit next time he says something like that.
There you go. We wish you a lot of luck tomorrow in the Brickyard 400. Still to come tonight, lots more from Indianapolis Raceway Park with the NASCAR Busch Series. They're cleaning up a big mess inside Turn 1 and 2 after a 6-car accident dumped all kind of trash on the track. The red flag has been withdrawn. We're back under the yellow, and here come the leaders onto pit road at Indianapolis Raceway Park, what is likely to be their only stop of this Kroger 200. Jason Keller, Scott Riggs, Greg Biffle, John Wood, and Jay Sauter are the top 5 as they come to the attention of their crews. Ralph?
Jay Sauter hasn't exactly been real happy with the handling of his race car, even though he's been running up near the front of it. It's been a little bit loose. It was really loose in qualifying, but they got a little bit better. They're going to change some tires, put some fuel in it, and they think they should be able to get it from here, Glenn.
Well, Ralph, even though Jason Keller was leading the race, his car was a little tight. They're going to take a pound of air pressure out of both the front tires and maybe a round of wedge out there. We're talking about that. I haven't seen them do that yet. And Greg Biffle, who beat Keller out. Keller had a lot of trouble on the left side there, the crew did. Biffle, on the other hand, was very loose. They were putting a half a pound of air pressure in the right front, taking a half a pound of air pressure out of the right rear to try to fix his loose condition.
Jason Keller's team did have some difficulties. Ron Hornaday is going to come off the pit road first, followed by Scott Riggs, then Greg Biffle, then Jay Sauter, then Jason Keller. Boy, oh boy. Track position is so important.
And there we see the 21 car leaving the pits. Jason Keller barely gets out in front of the 9 car.
Look at Biffle on the grass to the inside of Riggs.
Now the tires haven't got hot yet. He didn't pick up much.
Yeah, there you go. All right, well, that's a tough break there for Keller, because now he's got to make up all that track position that he had before. And want to check and follow up also on Hornaday's team and see whether they got 2 tires or 4. I'm suspecting 2 because he was out so quickly. Let's take a break here while they're still finishing the cleanup. The new leader is Jamie McMurray. He was among the guys who stopped earlier back at lap 39.